Welcome to another episode of Tiger Tally. I'm Aaliyah Smith. Thanks for joining. The Auburn baseball is heating up the diamond. The Tigers hosted Holy Cross, sweeping the series in the first two games. Auburn shut out Holy Cross and then topped the series off with a 13-4 blowout on Sunday. Next on the schedule for Auburn is Sanford Tuesday at Plainsman Park. Softball continues to dominate early in the season. Auburn shut out Yale and number 13 James Madison in a doubleheader Saturday. The Tigers also recorded their first no-hitter of the season against Yale. The story would be different Sunday. James Madison handed Auburn its first loss at home this season in a tight match. The final score, James Madison 1, Auburn 0. After falling to Texas A&M, then bouncing back to beat LSU last week, the Auburn men's basketball team looked to finish the season strong when they hosted Arkansas Saturday night.
Saturday night basketball, Auburn hosted Arkansas in the Auburn Arena.
With only 2 home games remaining in the season and free Chick-fil-A sandwiches, students couldn't pass up the opportunity of coming to the game.
It was back and forth in the first half. Arkansas would lead Auburn 40-31 at halftime. On the Arkansas side, Jalen Barford led in scoring with 20 points, the 4th time for him this season. Dustin Hannas was another big factor in the game as predicted. He finished with 18 points. As for Auburn, a 17-point game from Jared Harper and a 16-point game from Mustafa Heron could not pull the Tigers into solidifying the lead. It also didn't help that the Tigers began to fall apart toward the end of the game. They shot 52% from the free throw line and missed several open shots. Arkansas would take the 79-68 road game victory, picking up their 11th SEC win of the season.
The most disappointed in is the fact that we just haven't defended our home floor. Particularly in conference play. You know, Austin had a couple, and we didn't do a good job getting that ball into Austin enough, and then when they did get him, they fouled him hard, and he missed 4 free throws.
Defensively, I thought we did a good job of really trying to cover their shoe. They made 10 threes tonight, which is what they feed off of, but I thought we did a good job of limiting them to the second shots. They're playing pretty good basketball. When you can come in this environment and play with that kind of poise. And that was a big word, poise.
I told him prior to the LSU game, I said, look, we got to go 3-1. We got to beat, including a win over Georgia. That's what we have to do as far as how I looked at. So it means we got to win our last 2 games to be able to once again be in position where we can pretty much, do what we thought we could do.
In Auburn, Casey Cooper, Eagle Eye Sports.
The Tigers have struggled protecting home court. With Arkansas's win, the Razorbacks picked up their 11th SEC win this season, which is the 6th time in program history. Women's basketball is coming to a close. The team hosted LSU for the last home game of the season. It was senior night for the Auburn women's basketball team as they hosted the LSU Tigers. Auburn finished the game on an 11-1 run over the final 90 seconds, and Janiyah McKay played a huge role in that.
Well, I thought about what Coach said in the shoot-around, and she said you can't live and die by every shot. And so we knew they were going to fall eventually, but we had to focus on our defense to get easy offense. And I hadn't been as aggressive as I could have been, so in the fourth quarter, I was just like, everything's going to the rack. And so that's what I did, and it worked out.
Here's Brandy Montgomery with the steal as she led the team with 15 points on her senior night.
It's really huge. I commend my teammates so much. I thank them for stepping up, diving on the floor with the migraine, getting that loose ball, and making a play on the other end. It's huge, and I have my teammates to thank for that.
Auburn closes out the regular season Sunday at Arkansas. Aaliyah Smith, Eagle Eye Sports. The Tigers traveled to Arkansas Sunday, winning 70-64 in the last regular season game. Auburn finished 17-13 for the season. Auburn is set for an 11 a.m. tip-off against Georgia this Thursday in the SEC tournament. Auburn's women's tennis team won the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic on Saturday. The team defeated number 5 Texas Tech to take home the title. The team will finish out the rest of the season in SEC play before the SEC Championship in April. Coming up, the latest in national news, you're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
The top-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs lost to the unranked BYU Cougars 79-71 over the weekend, ending the hopes of a perfect season for the Bulldogs. It was the Cougars' first time ever win against a team that was ranked number 1. The next game for the 29-1 Bulldogs is the WCC quarterfinals in Las Vegas next Saturday. In a game that featured two of the best teams in the SEC, the Kentucky Wildcats overcame a double-digit deficit to defeat the Florida Gators 76-66 over the weekend in Lexington. The 11th-ranked Wildcats regained sole possession of the first place in the SEC with the victory, which should propel them back into the top 10 in the AP poll. The next game for Kentucky is their season finale at home versus Vanderbilt. Kentucky guard Blink Monk scored a game-high of 33 points in the win over the Florida Gators this past weekend. The star freshman scored 30 of his 33 points in the second half of the game. His recent performance was his fourth 30-point game this season, which is the most by a freshman in school history. Monk also ended up scoring the most points in a half by a player under coach John Calipari in the game. History was made over the weekend as Washington guard Kelsey Plum became the all-time leading scorer in Division I women's basketball history. The star player scored 57 points in a win over Utah. Overall, she has scored 33,397 points in her college career. She surpassed the career points mark that was formerly held by Jackie Stiles for the 16 years. The Golden State Warriors became the fastest team in NBA history to clinch a playoff berth when they defeated the Brooklyn Nets over the weekend. With the win, the Warriors are guaranteed a fifth straight trip to the playoffs, and they became the fastest team to clinch a playoff berth for the second year straight. The previous record for the fastest time clinching a playoff berth was the 1985 through 1986 Boston Celtics. It has been a quite interesting week for DeMarcus Cousins, as the big man has tried to fit in with the New Orleans Pelicans. The star forward has had to adjust to playing alongside with Pelican star big man Anthony Davis and new teammates such as guard Drew Holiday. Since coming over from Sacramento, Cousins has averaged 23.3 points per game and 13 rebounds, and the team's record is 0-3 in that span. Coming up next, I'll be joined by Whitten Hurd to go in depth on Cousins, Davis, and the Pelicans, and if they're now a position to be a title contender. Plus, we'll discuss the comments from Baylor's women's head basketball coach, Auburn baseball, and more. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back. I'm Aaliyah Smith, joined now with Whitten Hurd. Up first, Baylor's women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey spoke out in defending Baylor's University. The speech came after Mulkey clinched 500 wins in a game Saturday. In the speech, Mulkey said, in quote, "If somebody around you and they ever say, 'I will never send my daughter to Baylor,' you knock them right in the face." Following her comments, Mulkey expressed she regrets choosing to say "knock them in the face" and says it wasn't meant to be taken literal. Mulkey also says that she does not support violence, and the comments only came after hearing parents say they would never send their daughters to Baylor. Do you think Mulkey justified her original comments, or do you think the move probably was the best?
Really, this is a bad situation because, it's just a lot of turmoil, negative energy that's around Baylor already. Yeah. And the fact that, I know Kim Mulkey, being a female, she didn't mean for it to come over as if this was an acceptable behavior or whatnot, and they're just trying to bypass this. But the way in which she went about actually trying to defend the university, because I think she pretty much did this off of an impulse rather than actually rationally thinking about it before she spoke. And I know just from watching Kim Mulkey coach at Baylor, this is not the kind of personality kind of tone she's trying to set there. She just really made a comment without thinking. And, once it gets in the media eye, people can portray their own perspectives about what happened there. But I think she just handled this one in the wrong manner, and it kind of sent the wrong message nationally. Like she said, once she heard that and saying knocking somebody in the face, I don't think she really meant that. That was just more of her association with the university and kind of jumped on an impulse to try to defend it, but didn't do so in the right way.
Yeah, I definitely think she could have worded that differently to get her point across instead of, I'll knock you in the face,
Definitely.
All right. Now to the NBA, DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis have already put up a big number since Boogie joined the Pelicans after the All-Star break. Last night, Cousins and Davis combined for 69 points, but still lost to the Thunder. The combined for 56 games, Cousins' debut against the Rockets, 51 in the second game, then 69-point game last night. However, the Pelicans are still 0-3 since Cousins joined the team. Do you think these two All-Stars on the Pelicans team can eventually become a playoff contender?
They can definitely become a playoff contender. Now, as far as winning a championship, absolutely not, for several reasons. Because the Pelicans, pretty much, what you see is what you're going to get. Their best two players are Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Drew Holiday is a good point guard, but he's not great. He's no superstar by any means. And Eric Gordon is also a good player, but he's not on elite status either. So, Alvin Gentry, the head coach for the Pelicans, is pretty much working with two players here, and he basically has to figure out how I'm going to use these two guys. We got to remember they both essentially play the same position, so you got to figure out where minutes are going to come from and how to work around the rotations and what is going to actually fit best for them. But the honest truth is that the Pelicans are just not good enough, even with the addition to DeMarcus Cousins. Like you said, they're 0-3 right now since he's gotten there. Davis is still averaging over 30 points. DeMarcus Cousins is still getting his 25 or over per game, but that's all you're getting. If you're not getting anything else from your players around from your bench, you're just not going to be that good, and that's what you're getting from the Pelicans right now.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. I feel like if they added a few players for the perimeter, they'll be fine after that, after the chemistry and everything gets set in.
Correct. It's going to take time, but I think Pelicans long run, they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's how it was at first when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors.
Exactly.
It took time for them to build up that team chemistry and get everything going.
Right.
All right. Also in that game, Russell Westbrook recorded his 29th triple-double of the season. He is currently on a pace for 40 triple-doubles, which would be one shy of Oscar Robertson's single-season record. Could Westbrook potentially tie or even break that record?
Yes, and I'm saying this right now. He's going to break the record. If he doesn't, I'll be highly surprised. Russell Westbrook, to me, I've said since Kevin Durant left, everybody's really gotten a chance to see what Russell Westbrook can do, what kind of player he is. Still turn the ball over too much.
Yeah.
But, like I said, when the guy has to make that many plays and he is the go-to guy, it's going to come with turnovers. But Russell Westbrook, to me, is just, he's been outstanding this season. As many triple-doubles as he's getting. And when it produces to W's, that's even better on the team. Billy Donovan has actually figured out a way how to just let Westbrook go out there and basically be himself. Now he doesn't have to worry about, and got to give Kevin touches, and I got to get my touches. There's no more controversy there, so he can basically lead that team the way that he wants to and just basically be himself. And with 23 games left in regular season, I think he can pretty much get a triple-double if he wants to in all 23 of those games. I don't see anything stopping Russell right now. And I still got him as an MVP. James Harden might get it, but I still have my boy Russell Westbrook just slightly ahead of him getting the MVP for this year.
I'm still kind of baffled that he didn't start in the All-Star game. I think that's crazy.
Well, we know that wasn't going to happen because Steve Kerr pretty much said, I'm going to start 4 of my players from the Warriors, and we all know we were waiting on KD and Russell to have that little reunion.
They had it. Yeah. All right, Auburn baseball is off to a 7-1 start this past weekend. They shut out Holy Cross and had a blowout win on Sunday to sweep the series. Could Auburn baseball team be one of the better teams Auburn has seen in the recent years?
It could, but me personally, I'm not sold. I'm not completely sold yet. You know, I'm actually, I'm very happy that the team is off to a fast start. And like I said before, baseball is a game of momentum. You know, you want to start winning games early to put yourself in position for mid to late in the season, trying to get ready for regional, super regional, and hopefully going to Omaha to play in the College World Series. But right now, I'm actually, you know, waiting until we have our first home series in SEC play against Florida, because Florida's actually picked to finish first in the SEC this season, and is actually picked to be at least a Final Four, actually play for the national championship this season in baseball. So when the team gets into conference play, that's when you actually start to see the level of competition. The playing field evens out, and then you get to see what kind of team you're working with. Right now, what they're doing is good, but let's be honest, we kind of know the level of competition is not nearly as what they're going to see once they get into conference play. So if they do get into SEC play and this kind of streak continues, then I'll start jumping on the bandwagon a little bit and saying this team could possibly host a super regional and ultimately get to Omaha, which is the ultimate goal for every team.
Yeah, I agree. With every team in college, not basketball, but baseball, you have to see where they go for conference play, because that's really all that matters. All these games are just
right. This is all just a warm up to get into SEC play. And, you know, same thing with basketball. You know, we saw how that happened. You can win the games early on, but once you get into conference, that's what coaches say. You actually see what kind of team you have, what kind of coach you have there.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.